Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are Florida.
The last time Miami saw Jordan Zimmermann, he was throwing the first no-hitter in Washington Nationals history. Tonight, the Marlins return home feeling a bit better about themselves with some hot bats and 2 straight wins. Big homestand starts tonight, a 3-gamer, Miami and Washington. Marlins are back home tonight. Marlins part with the roof closed. Some rain in the area. And the Nationals are in the area for 3 games. The 3-gamer starts tonight. Long homestand for the pitch. Giancarlo Stanton and the Marlins are hoping that the bats are alive and well. Martin Prado had it. Hey! Dan Uggla's in the house. On Mardi Gras night, it's the Nationals and the Marlins. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz. My partner, Tommy Hutton, is under the weather. In his place, we have an all-star cast. Literally an all-star cast. All-star in Carl Pavano, all-star in Preston Wilson, as Miami takes on these Washington Nationals. Let's go hitting, and then let's go pitching. Start with hitting, Preston. This Marlin bunch is in a better place offensively when they left on the road trip, especially with their big guy, Giancarlo.
Well, when you look at what the Marlins lineup is doing right now, they've all of a sudden become very deep. 5 guys hitting over 300 in the starting lineup tonight. They got the ability to get on base at the top and bottom of the order.
Stanton hit a ball in Philadelphia. Now, game was on television. For many of you, this might be your first look at it.
Well, you might get a look at it, but you're not going to see it long. This ball came off the bat in such a hurry. You don't see many people like this. They say all men are created equal. He's created a little bit more equal than everybody else because the way that the ball jumps off this guy's bat, you see infielders dodging to get out of the way of the balls.
That was an impressive blow, and the Marlins have 2 consecutive wins. Pavy, let's talk pitching. This is a really intriguing matchup. We saw the video from Jordan Zimmermann's no-hitter. That was the last day of last year, and then Matt Latos goes as well. Tell me about Zimmermann. What have you seen this year? Because his numbers don't look Zimmermann-like.
Yeah, like I talked on earlier, I talked to some of the Nationals personnel, and they told me that one of his starts, it was really cold, and he was having a tough time to grip the ball, and that was the one that he only lasted 2 innings. But he's a guy that's going to come right after. He controls his fastball, keeps the ball at the knees, and he wants to go to his secondary pitches.
Matt Latos, much like Jordan Zimmermann, has not had a good start to 2015.
Yeah, I think some of that has to do with his injuries last year. He's still trying to find himself, find his mechanics, and I think he's shown out of the last 3 starts that he's really making the progression that you want to see. Life on the fastball, working in his secondary pitches, and getting ahead with his strikes.
2 teams who have not had the type of starts they were hoping for. Some roster moves, injury, some guys coming up, and of course, you've got Nationals and Marlins. All of that right around the bend. Mardi Gras night at Marlins Park. Man, is it raining outside right now as well. Good to be inside. Good to have the roof closed, and good to be back with Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine. Gentlemen?
Yeah, you're right. We actually, you can finally see downtown now over here. For a while there, you couldn't even see any of the buildings just beyond Marlins Park. Hi again, everybody, with Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini. Some moves the Marlins make here before the game. Christian Yelich was trying to come back from the back, missed a couple of games in the Atlanta series, comes back to play the Mets series. Turns out that back is still bothering him. He'll go on the 15-day DL.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything serious. It's kind of a spasm thing where if you don't give that thing rest, it's going to keep on nagging. It definitely nagged him. He's not the same Christian Yelich that we saw last year or even in this spring training. So hopefully he'll get it right on the DL.
A lot of strikeouts, un-Yelich-like at-bats there in New York, and obviously the back was bothering him. So the Marlins did make some moves with Christian Yelich going to the disabled list. Also, good news in the Saltalamacchia family as Jared goes on the paternity list, so he'll be gone for a couple of days. And Grant Dayton, designated for assignment, open up a spot as the Marlins call up the two gentlemen on the right.
Yeah, Justin Bour calls up and it was doing very well in New Orleans. You see there from the Zephyrs. Jonathan Solano, how about Donovan's brother? First time in Marlins history that two brothers will be on the roster at the same time. Good for him, and I'm sure Donovan's very happy.
I was trying to think if they ever even have brothers in the system at all. Do you remember over the years?
I don't remember ever having brothers in the system,
Anyway,
so now, too, at the big league level, very impressive.
Wow, that's pretty neat. All right, so we got a little baseball coming up at you as the Marlins with a couple of new faces here, coming off 2 wins, got the offense going, outscored Philly 15-2 last 2 games. Now they get a look at the Washington Nationals, try to get the first one of this series next on Fox Sports Florida.
Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Cleveland Clinic. Cleveland Clinic, Florida's 5K run walk will be held April 26th in Weston. Register at clevelandclinicflorida.org. And by AutoNation. Save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit AutoNation.com. The pride of Coconut Creek, Matt Latos, gets the ball and tries to get a W, making his 4th start of the season. The Marlins and the Nationals. Nationals come in at 7-9. They just dropped 2 of 3, including the last 2 in a 3-game set against the Cardinals. Jam Lexus brings you their starting lineup. Denard Span, Ian Desmond, and Jason Worth. Bryce Harper not only having a nice career against the Marlins, He's off to a real nice start with his power numbers. Ryan Zimmerman's at first base this year. Yunel Escobar, who has been all over the place, is at third base right now for the Nationals. Anthony Rendon is probably a couple of weeks away. Wilson Ramos behind the plate, and there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Uggla at second base and hitting 8. Jordan Zimmerman is in the 9 spot. And there's a look at Denard Span, such a big part of Washington's success last year. And Matt Latos gets going. Carl Pavano for Matt Latos. Facing this Washington team, what is at the top of your list for him to have success?
It's going to be that location on his fastball. I mean, when he keeps the ball down at his height and at the angle that he could put the ball, he's going to keep it on the ground. And they got some big guys here that can do some damage in pitches that are left up. And he showed in his last start that his changeup has good action, which will keep him off his fastball.
For Miami, the defense arrives, and it's brought to you by BMW. Marlins have one of the better defenses statistically right now in the National League. Ichiro in left in the absence of Yelich. Marcelo Ozuna, Giancarlo Stanton, Michael Morse, D. Gordon, Adeiny Echeverria, Martin Prado at third, and JT Realmuto has had a real nice week and a half in the big leagues behind the plate for the Marlins. So it's a 3-game series, ready to go. Tommy Hutton under the weather. Partner, we hope you're doing well. Get better. We'll see you soon. It took 2 guys, 2 All-Stars to replace him.
That's how good he is. It takes both of us to even try to fill in for him.
And Latos is ready. Pinch a penny. About to drop this first pitch on you. And Latos zips it with a fastball right down the middle. And importantly for Latos, below the waist. He did not live there in his early starts, and he got hurt as a result. Span, Desmond, and Worth. The Nationals are not scoring runs, believe it or not, with all the bats that they've got in their lineup. Latos misses up.
Well, I think the interesting thing about Latos is he pitched in San Diego, then he went to Cincinnati, which is supposed to be a hitter's ballpark, and his ERA actually went down when he moved to Cincinnati. So he's a quality pitcher, and he's going to get it together.
You put a good defense behind that, it makes him even better, just like the Marlins have here.
Fastball is up, and it's 2-1. The Nationals, of course, a postseason team last year, the second time in 3 years. Desmond waiting on deck, but they lost in the division series to the suddenly hot Giants, and you know how that turned out. The Giants ended up world champs. Former National Michael Morse on a hard hit ball from Span, and there's 1 out. Here is Ian Desmond having a nice year with the bat, not so much the glove. He's had some defensive struggles this year, already with 8 errors.
That's a lot of errors for your shortstop.
But he's made up for it with some big hits. Fastball for a strike. Desmond riding a 9-game hit streak, a .421 average over that span. Obviously, it's hard to overcome 8 errors from your shortstop, so he hasn't completely made up for it. But the Sarasota product has been such an offensive force at what has always been, in baseball, considered a defensive position.
When you have a shortstop that can hit the ball the way that he does, though, that's something that a lot of teams would love to have. He gives you power, he gives you average, and he's got speed on the bases.
3 consecutive Silver Sluggers. Latos with a 1-1 pitch. Carl Pavani, you said something interesting on Marlins Live when you talked about Matt Latos. You said for a big-bodied pitcher who doesn't have a lot of reps, he needs, and you were referring to last year. Why is that important for a guy that's at his size rather than a guy that's, say, 6 feet?
You know, you got a lot of moving parts. So to get those moving parts moving directional and consistent with those parts, you just got to throw a lot. I mean, I was a guy that's pretty much his size, and I know a lot of times when I wasn't coming off the disabled list, it just took me a little while to get going. Especially I've had years where I had injuries like that, and it's tough.
What is that? Is that a curveball or a changeup right there? Like it's got a little turnover on it. Curveball.
Yeah.
That's nasty right there.
Great. And he's dominantly throwing fastballs right here, so that's good to get him through this first set of the lineup with fastballs and leave some of those secondary pitches for a second, third time and get him deep into the game.
Jason Worth, who missed a lot of spring training with the shoulder issue, has arrived on the scene. This is his 9th game. Couple doubles, couple RBIs. We talk about the contributions last year from Ian Desmond. Well, Worth last year was outstanding. 394 on base, 455 slugging, and 292 average. Strike. 0-2. Not many people felt he'd be worth the money when they signed him, but I think if you had to look at what he's done and meant to this franchise and where they've been, you might say he has lived up to that deal. Stanton is there, and he makes the catch, and Matt Latos goes 1, 2, 3 through the Nationals. Marlins coming to bat in the first. Jordan Zimmerman making his 4th start for Washington. The last time the Marlins saw him, well, he was striking out 10, walking just 1, and with 2 outs in the 9th, he thought he had lost his no-hitter. Steven Souza Jr., now Array, made that incredible catch and the first no-hitter in Washington Nationals history. Zimmerman had an outstanding year last year. His ERA was 2.66, so many feel that these numbers are just a blip on the radar, but a bit of a concern. 6.14 ERA, he is 1-2.
Well, I thought Escobar's, he's really deep in there at third base. He's right on top of D. Gordon.
You know, Escobar at third. There's a look at the Nationals third baseman. Zimmerman works quickly, and right away, that one fouled back and out of play. There are some pitchers that, with this new pace of play mandate, really didn't need to adjust their routine, and this is one of those guys. He gets it and he throws it.
I bet his fielders love that. The fielders love it as a pitcher when you get up there and just, you know, you got a good pace going. It keeps them in the game, keeps everyone in the game.
Here's a 1-2. Ooh, Gordon lined that one right at the Marlins dugout. It hit the padding on that rail, and that's why they have that there.
That was an emergency hack. He almost hit that ball out of the catcher's mitt. Look how deep that is. Holy cow. Hit that ball behind him.
Counts 1-2. Zimmerman doesn't throw a whole variety of pitches. I mean, he is a meat and potatoes fastball, and usually he can put it absolutely wherever he wants it. Here's the 2-2. There's that fastball. Slow roller. Desmond to first in time. And gets the out. Marlins lineup brought to you by JM Lexus. You've seen Gordon. Some guys coming off nice road trips. Martin Prado especially. And he hits well against Zimmerman. 8 for 17. Stan had 4 homers on the trip. Michael Morse at first. Marcell Ozuna's bat is awake and alive and well. JT Real Muto's been swinging it. Ichiro is in left. Danny Echeverria, look at that. He's at 311. And of course, Latos is in the 9 spot. And here is Prado, who is 5 for his last 9 at the plate. Hit 350 on the road trip. You saw his numbers against Jordan Zimmerman.
Prado's one of those guys that when he gets going, he does so much for you. Not only does he spray the ball around the field, but he hits with some power. He can drive in runs. And he's a great situational hitter. If you need a guy to get a runner over, he's your guy. If you need a guy to make sure you hit behind, try to shoot that hole over there at first base with a man on first, he can do that as well.
Count 1-2. Fouled at the plate. Preston is a hitter. Knowing that a guy throws 70, 80% fastballs, what does that do to you? And how is he so successful doing it?
He's so successful because he doesn't miss his spot very often when he's on. As you saw in that no-hitter at the end of last year, it was pinpoint control, knee high.
But he does have a breaking ball, and he just showed it off and strikes out Martin Prado. Defense for the Washington Nationals has not been real good this year. It's brought to you by BMW. Worth, Span, and Harper. That's a good outfield. Escobar third, Desmond and Dan Uggla up the middle. Ryan Zimmerman in his new spot at first base. And Wilson Ramos, a good defensive catcher. Here is Stanton. And a fastball from Zimmerman on the outside corner. It is 0-1. Giancarlo has homered in 4 of his last 7 games. Fastball in. A ball and a strike. Stanton took most of his batting practice in the indoor cage. Likes to do that. Feels it gets him back to driving it middle and to right field.
When I see him taking that pitch inside that's just off the plate, I know he's feeling good. A lot of times when he gets in trouble, it's when he's chasing in.
And as a pitcher, you know when guys are in trouble when you start speeding them up in and they start swinging at that pitch. You're right. By him taking it, shows that he's seeing the ball well and he's looking for his pitch.
3-1 pitch. And Stanton swings and misses at a slider. It'll be interesting to see if he sees a fastball here or that same pitch he just missed.
Well, right there, you're yelling at yourself as a hitter because I'm seeing the ball well. I just got outside of myself.
Slider, and he missed it. And Zimmerman looks like the Jordan Zimmerman of old. 1-2-3 goes Miami.
conectado en español vía SAP por Kendall Toyota.
You have any more headset? You think it's the head?
Matt Latos getting ready to work in the second. Bryce Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, Yunel Escobar for the Nationals. And here is Harper. The average, pay no attention to that. Go to the far right. Look at the OPS. The on-base plus slugging. And he has filled up that stat column. Harper taking his walks as well. He's walked 15 times already this year. In the cleanup spot, you got Ryan Zimmerman, Yunel Escobar to follow, and Latos gets another strike. Count a ball and a strike.
A young guy, he's still developing, but it's good to see the progress, him learning to take pitches now.
Drops down a bunt. Latos has it, and there's no chance to get Harper, who runs well. Bryce Harper with a bunt for a base hit, and he's aboard with nobody out in the second. Saturday Spectacular, April 25th, the Marlins and the Nationals at 4:10. All-you-can-eat seats, just $35. Celebrate Fellowship Day at the ballpark. And after the game, enjoy a concert on the West Plaza with Christian hip-hop artist KB. That's tomorrow at 4:10. So Harper's aboard at first. Nationals have not run much at all. Harper, when that guard on his left hand. Ryan Zimmerman strokes one to right. Stanton is there. And he makes the catch. Latos gets the out.
I think we may see Harper run less and less, especially with the injuries that the Nationals have had. They don't want to take the chance of him getting too beat up, sliding into second base, stealing bases, because that has the potential to maybe a hand or a shoulder or something when you're sliding. I think they're going to try to pull him back a little bit out of that running game.
Well, he sprained his thumb last year in a head-first slide. You can see the oven mitt, essentially, that he's got a padded oven mitt around his left hand. It cost him 2 months last year. And so maybe that has curtailed his running. Now Yunel Escobar.
But as a base stealer, it's hard to just take that out of your game, though. It's part of your character, it's part of your game, and for you to eliminate that, it's hard to make that adjustment now to not be a running type of guy when you're on base.
I was just about to ask you that, Preston. Being a base stealer like you were, I'm sure you gain momentum and confidence off there when you're playing both sides of the diamond well. You're stealing bases, you're helping your team, and then all of a sudden that's taken away from you because they want to keep you from having injuries. That definitely has got to hinder your game.
When you have the ability to affect the game in a lot of different ways, you want to use every tool at your disposal. You know, if you can throw well, you want to use your arm. If you can run, you want to show off that speed. And when you take that out of there, you don't feel like you're as complete of a player. You always want to show what you can do.
A 1 pitch. And it's out. You can actually hear Escobar narrate that pitch as it came across the plate and dove away. Escobar, 32-year-old Cuban, very colorful player. Escaped from Cuba in 2004 and actually arrived here in Miami. He was at sea 3 days in a 25-foot boat with 30 people. And since he arrived in the States, he was right into the draft, the Major League draft, and the Braves took him. Remember, he was a Brave to begin with. Breaking ball, hit well, center field. Ozuna's there, reaches up, makes the catch. Speaking of escaping from Cuba, special morning this morning for Jose Fernandez, who became a U.S. citizen. There were 141 people from a variety of countries this morning, including Jose Fernandez. And he will join us a little later in the show. Good to see him on the bench. Marlins certainly miss him. And by all accounts, the progress that he's had, still on target for a mid to late June return. Here's Wilson Ramos.
Wilson Ramos is one of those guys that when you face him, you actually want to pitch him a little bit more up in his zone. He's a low ball hitter. He likes the ball down and away. So I think Latos is going to have to maybe try to crowd him and get the ball up. Because once he's a big guy, and once he gets extended, he can hit the ball a long way.
He's also a guy that you can expand the zone on. So I think crowding him opens up that outer half of the plate for breaking balls. He doesn't have great plate discipline. He does like to swing the bat. So I think it plays into Latos' hands right here.
The Marlins aren't feeling great about their offense until the last few days. The Nationals' offense has not been what many thought it would be. That one's hit hard up the middle. Gordon to both knees to smother it and flip to second to get the out. Matt Latos has got 2 scoreless in the books. Social with the Marlins, and follow @FoxMarlins on Twitter and Instagram for exclusive behind-the-scenes Miami Marlins coverage straight from the Fox Sports Florida telecast. Rich Waltz, Carl Pavano, Preston Wilson, Tommy Hutton under the weather tonight. The Marlins and the Nationals opening a weekend series, and so far a scoreless game. Michael Morse, Marcelo Zuna, JT Realmuto against Jordan Zimmerman. Morse, of course, a national and a good one. Had some big years in D.C. Fouls that one off of Ramos.
This is one of those times where there's some familiarity there. Now, they know Morris because he was in their organization. He knows their pitchers, so it's going to be interesting to see the cat-mouse game of who makes the adjustment throughout this game between he and his old teammates.
Matt Williams on the rail. That one fouled back to the screen.
Preston, you've played against, former teams that you've played for. Did that play a big part in your preparation?
Oh, yeah, because when you play with someone, you understand what their strengths and weaknesses are. So you foul up behind you, especially when you play center field. You see those pitchers at a great angle.
For Morse, his biggest year as a National was in 2011. 31 homers, 95 driven in. Was also a National in 2012 when Zimmerman finishes off Morse. And it's funny how Jordan Zimmerman comes in struggling, but he gets a look at the Marlins. He has retired 4 straight and struck out 3 of them.
Well, we've already seen way more sliders than we used to seeing him throw. We've seen a 3-1 and 3-2 slider to Stanton, a couple of sliders right there. So right now, the Marlins lineup has to say, look, it's not going to be 70% fastballs like we usually see.
No, you're right. He's mixing in a lot more breaking balls and off-speed stuff. And he gets a strike on Marcell Ozuna, one of the hot hitters in the Marlins lineup. Ozuna 9 for his last 17, and he's hit in 5 straight.
It doesn't help that the sliders that the Marlins batters are swinging at are balls out of the zone. They're helping him out a lot.
Ozuna cracks one into right field. Boy, that's a great example, guys, of how well he's going right now. Fastball spotted exactly where Zimmerman wanted it, and Ozuna jumped it.
This is when Ozuna's at his best. When he lets the ball get there and hits the ball the other way, it makes him such a better hitter because now he's hitting that pitch, and when he gets a breaking ball, he doesn't pull off of it. He doesn't hit it foul. The breaking balls go in the left center gap to left field, hits the fastball from left center around to the right field line. That's when he's at his best.
And the no-hitter is over. The carryover from last year for Jordan Zimmerman. He finally gives up a hit to Miami. Here's Real Muto. Who was impressed in his little over a week stay behind the plate. He bangs that one off of Ramos. He counts 1 ball and 1 strike.
Real Muto's one of those guys that I just see him growing in confidence every time I see him play. He's starting to believe that he can play in the big leagues and not just be here, but be a productive player. Ooh.
The one thing in talking to folks around the Nationals that they don't see with Zimmerman right now is that pinpoint control. 29 walks in 32 starts last year.
I mean, he's showing that he's got a lot of confidence in his slider. I mean, they had Stanton 3-1, 3-2. Here's 2-1. He's throwing a lot behind the count. He's not feeling very comfortable with his fastball, but he is with his slider. He's spotting that up all right.
So did you have times where you felt like you controlled your breaking ball better than you did your fastball?
You know, I didn't.
Hit hard. Desmond Uggla's turn is on time. We'll continue the discussion. Jordan Zimmerman makes quick work of the Marlins in a scoreless ballgame. Carl Pavano is with us tonight, and we're going to take a look at Matt Lato's delivery, part of our Rand Eye Vision Cam. Pavi?
you know, he's a tall guy, and he needs to use that leverage and get on top of the baseball. He hides the ball really well. He's got good direction, but a short stride for a bigger guy, which is not unusual. But he finds enough to get out of his legs and drive the ball downhill.
Keep your eye on the ball. RandEye.com/LASIK. Here is Dan Uggla. Now on the surface, you look at Ugla's average. He's hitting just 129 with an RBI, but people around the Nationals say that he looks like a different hitter than when last we saw him struggling in Atlanta in a brief cameo appearance with the world champion Giants. A lot of hard hit balls, a lot of balls at people. He's not striking out like he used to, and after his eye issues were addressed in the offseason, he had a really nice spring training. He couldn't hold the swing. There he strikes out, and Latos looking sharp as his second strikeout of the ball game.
Well, no matter how good your eyes are, you're not really going to hit this breaking ball. This is sharp, late breaking with some nasty bite. And say all you want, that pitch is almost unhittable.
You're right. It fooled him, too, and it stayed on the inside of the plate where he had a bad reaction to it.
Now Jordan Zimmerman. Denard Span also scheduled to appear in this inning. Jordan Zimmerman's lone career home run came at the Marlins' expense. And of course, every pitcher's nightmare here. You sail through the lineup, and then you get to the pitcher spot, and you go 3-0.
Yeah, that can't happen. Sometimes you just got to step off the mound, take a nice deep breath, recollect your thoughts, and go back at him.
A strike. DJ Rayburn, Joe West, Gabe Morales, and Kerwin Danley, your umpires for this 3-game set. DJ Rayburn is behind home plate. And Latos splits the plate for the second time. Full count now, 3-2. The Marlin pitcher that Jordan Zimmerman homered against, Carlos Zambrano.
Oh, close.
2012.
The Mercurial Zambrano.
Yes. 3-2 pitch. Got him. Latos, first time through the order, has 3 strikeouts. He's got 2 outs here in the third. Here comes Span.
Carlos is no stranger of hitting home runs off pitchers either. He had a good bat in his day.
Tomorrow night, actually tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 start for Marlins Live. Steven Strasburg, Tom Kohler. I'm surprised that Zambrano hasn't resurfaced in some league somewhere as a designated hitter or first baseman.
He could swing the bat.
Yeah, he can.
Either that or a spokesperson for a demolition.
He splintered some bats over his knee too, that big fella.
He wiped out a few Gatorade coolers. He broke the Gatorade machine at Wrigley Field, much to the disappointment of
Derek Lee, I think it was.
Yeah,
Was it? And Michael Barrett,
who likes his Gatorade. Morse can't get it. Gordon can, and Latos is there with a little help from my friend. Latos. Thankfully, Latos kept his path over to first.
That's a good job of not giving up on that play.
yeah, great play.
At Marlins Park. Got the obligatory beads going. Bottom third of the order for Miami. Ichiro, Danny Echeverria, and Matt Latos. And Ichiro smokes one right at Ryan Zimmerman, who makes the catch and holds on. A quick out for Jordan Zimmerman. Jose Fernandez scheduled to appear with us. And he will be in the booth in the 4th inning.
Tell you, talk about a difference between the first homestand and the road trip for Echeverria. On the first homestand, 1 for 22. On the road trip, 18 for 39. That's a 0.45 and 4.62. That's a big difference in your batting average.
Pretty good adjustment.
And you give Frank Menachino a lot of credit because he worked hard with Echeverria. And the one thing he said, Echeverria was late for everything. His hands were late, his feet were late. His weight shift was late. Span runs it down in right center. That ball's pretty well hit too. A couple of hard hit balls against Jordan Zimmerman. And here comes Latos.
One thing that young hitters have to battle is making sure that you're consistently getting ready to hit. Because you can have bat speed and still be late. Because if your setup isn't done in time, the bat isn't going to get to the hitting position to be able to get that swing off. And then you see those guys swinging at balls in the dirt. You see them having bad at bats. And a lot of it starts from the feet up when you're hitting.
Zimmerman misses outside. It's 1-0. Latos hitting here in the 3rd. Scoreless. Weekend series. 3-game series. And for the Marlins, a nice homestand here. And a chance really at redemption for the Marlins. Talk about the frustrations they've had to start the season. Well, the Fish get an opportunity to stare down some of the teams that knocked them around early. The Mets for 3, and then the Phillies, and they got the Nationals as well. Latos hits it to left and hits it well. Worth going back, looking up at the track, and he makes a running basket catch on the warning track about 380 feet from home plate. I think Latos just said, that's all I got. Still scoreless. Wow. Fun day. The Marlins Sunday Fun Day. Nationals at 110. Pick up the Pepsi 4 for $74 pack. Get 4 tickets for KMB Franks. 4 Pepsis for $74. Fans get a Christian Yelich replica Gold Glove trophy courtesy of Pepsi. Kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash. That's pretty cool stuff. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. It is Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Miami night here, the new charity partners for the Marlins, and Gail Nelson is with me, the executive vice president. It's a big deal for the Fish to have your great organization aboard, and I know you're happy to be with the Marlins as well.
Absolutely. It's a big deal for us in that the Marlins have given us a platform to recruit more big brothers and big sisters, so we're really excited about coming out to the ball game.
I think a lot of people have heard about Big Brothers Big Sisters over the years. What does the program do? And I know there's a big waiting list as well.
That's exactly right. What Big Brothers Big Sisters is all about is pairing a caring adult with a child in need of a role model. We have a waiting list presently of 1,000 children, mostly boys. So we really want to challenge men to step up to the plate tonight.
And people can sign up if they're not at the ball game, or because there's a sign up here on one of the concourses. How do they get involved?
Absolutely. For those folks that are here at the game, they can sign up in Section 16 or Section 226. But they also can go to our website and we can get them processed rather quickly. Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, bbbsmiami.org.
Tonight here as Desmond gets the double. The Big Brother of the Year was honored before the ball game. What's his name?
Absolutely. Richard Downer is with us tonight, the Florida Big Brother of the Year, and actually his little brother threw out the first pitch. So we're real excited about that.
So, and the kids get a chance to come to the game or a sporting event, whether it's Marlins, Dolphins, Panthers, whatever.
When you take a look at this outing tonight, this beautiful stadium, Marlins Park, Sports Buddies is being launched tonight, as we want everybody out there to recognize the fact that a platform like the Marlins have given us is really the opportunity to really mentor a child and get involved.
Now give us that website one more time.
Absolutely, bbbsmiami.org.
There we go. Thanks a lot. Good to see your group here and some smiling faces as well. Thanks, Gail.
Absolutely. Go Marlins.
All right, back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Craig. For Matt Lato, second time through for these national hitters. Ian Desmond cracking a double in the gap in right center. Carl Pavano, Preston Wilson with us. Tommy Hutton under the weather tonight. Jason Worth at the plate. What happens, pitcher, hitter? And I'll let you both dive in on this. Second time through, what changes?
Well, usually for a hitter, you try to understand what he did to you the first time and understand what's working, and now you know how his pitches look. So especially with Worth right here with a man on second base, he's going to try to find something away or up to try to get that ball into right center or right field to move that runner over from second to third. Maybe buy himself a double at the worst. You hit the ball on that side, be a ground ball, you get the runner over, do your job.
For the pitcher, obviously you want to keep that guy at bay at second base, but you want to stay with what worked. His last at bat, he threw a good fastball up and in that he popped out to right. I think he needs to stay with his fastball. You saw him go to the slider early with Desmond, and he was on it. His first at bat, he beat him on fastballs. So here, I would expect him to try to crowd him, to try to get a ground ball to keep that guy from advancing to third.
Breaking ball, and he buries it in the dirt. Count is 3-1. Our cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Worth the wait. The Nationals without him 2-6, with him 5-3, and look at the jump in run production. In the air to right. This should move the runner. Stanton under it, makes the catch. Tagging is Desmond, on his way to third, and he'll get there ahead of the throw. So Worth does the job, pushes the runner, and now the Nationals, that they've been able to get him over, will try to get him in, and they've got two really good hitters to give that a shot, Bryce Harper and Ryan Zimmerman.
That's a good at bat right there. That's a team at bat. You don't get anything on it. Your average actually goes down because you flew out to right field, but you gave your team an opportunity to score a run by pushing that run over there 90 feet away. So many things can happen to get that run across the plate.
Now Harper, who set down a gorgeous bunt back in the second, and the Marlins infield is back except for Prado, who's even at third. You got speed at third with Desmond, and Harper hammers one right center field and deep. Ozuna after it, and he runs it down at the track. It'll be a long sacrifice fly. Bryce Harper in a bit of disbelief. Ozuna got a good jump, good angle, and it's 1-0 Washington.
Poor big guy. Ozuna does so many things well in center field. There's not very many center fielders hit sides who can go get the ball like this. His routes are good, and to be able to catch up to that ball didn't have a whole lot of hang time. He ran that ball down and made it look relatively easily.
And that's off the bat of a left-handed hitter, which that ball's most likely tailing away. So he's running to it, trying to catch up to it.
Now Ryan Zimmerman takes a strike. Zimmerman flied to right back in the second. Nationals have their first run.
I want to see Latos get back in his groove, get that spotting that fastball a little bit better. And when he does throw that curveball, get it down, because I'm seeing there's starting to be some good contact here these last couple of bats by the Nationals.
Little dribbler. That's why they talk about second time through and adjustments that hitters make. And do pitchers vary from their first at-bat pattern?
There's such a fine line between going away from what works. You know, a lot of people say don't fix it, ain't broken. You see a lot of pitchers, second, third time through the order, they want to throw different pitches when they've been getting guys out with fastballs, and sometimes that could get you in trouble. So you really got to gauge the team, gauge where you're at in the game, how you're feeling, and you know, it's really up to the pitcher. But a lot of times when you stay with what's working, that's what's most successful.
That one is crunched in the gap. Ozuna won't get to this one. It rolls to the wall, and Ryan Zimmerman's got a double. The inning started with a Desmond double to right center, and Zimmerman in the other gap has himself a double.
Yeah, right here, Latos throws his breaking ball, and like I said, it didn't get down. It hung right about thigh high. Zimmerman does a good job just staying through it, hit that ball really well. And he's going to have to get back to staying out of the middle out of plate, because these Nationals hitters, they can't hit when the ball's hung in the middle of the plate.
It just goes to show the pitch before that was the same location but down. And it was actually a slider that stayed on the inside of the plate that he nubbed down the line, and then that one was up, and he was able to get the big part of the bat on it.
Now Escobar. He flied to center his first AB. And Latos misses this inning. Not only the Nationals are on the board, but they've pushed that Latos pitch count up into the mid-40s. Still a comfortable spot for a guy that's had trouble in his first 3 starts. He's pitched just 9 2/3 coming in. There's that breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-1. Meanwhile, up in New York, the Mets and Yankees tangling, and Jacob deGrom is having some issues as the Yankees have scored 5 times against the Rookie of the Year. Escobar hits a sharp ground ball to second. Gordon gathers it in on to first in time. Nationals have a run. Jose Fernandez, U.S. citizen, will join us when we return. 0-0. Bottom of the fourth. Well, Preston Wilson, Carl Pavano are out of here because Jose Fernandez is here. First of all, congratulations on becoming a U.S. citizen today. That's really special stuff.
It is. I mean, it is an honor, man. You know, it's something that I dream of. Things you dream about, and you know, actually accomplish something like that. And you know, obviously being away from the game for a little while, you know, it gets to you that you can get to do that.
Now, did you know when you left Cuba that this is something you wanted to do aside from pitch in the big leagues?
I mean, probably not at that moment, but you know, when I got here and I started getting to know more about this country and start learning a lot of things about it, you know, it really makes me appreciate and you know everything that we have here, and I think it's really important.
D. Gordon into center field and a base hit, and the Marlins have their leadoff runner aboard. There were 141 people from 40 different countries that received U.S. citizenship today, and you were as well. And in talking to people that have gone through that, I'm amazed at what they have to learn about the country. Oftentimes, a guy like you now knows more about this country, your country now, than many people who grew up in this country.
You know what, and you know, I think it's important. I mean, I think it's beautiful, man. You know, we come here and you know we get a fair shot, just like everybody is born here, and I think that that is really important. You know, I don't know many countries. I've never been in many countries that you know give you a chance to actually be whoever you want to be, who you want to accomplish to be. They give you an opportunity, and it's up to you to take it or not.
Martin Prado's up right now, and I know for you it's not been easy watching baseball rather than playing baseball. This Marlins ball club seems to be in a much better place offensively over the last 4 or 5 days than they were when they left for that road trip. What have you seen just in watching?
And I've been watching a lot, man. You know, and I try to learn every bit of it, and you know, more with the teams there are in our division. Obviously, you know, I try to pay a lot of attention because we'll be back soon, hopefully this year. But and you know, I want a chance to help my teammates to win. So I would like to see, you know, what is Harper doing, or what is the guy for the Mets, or you know what, how Harvey was throwing the ball the other day. I was listening to you guys when you guys said it. I was sitting at home watching the game. Yes.
Yeah, and we referenced that because we had a good feeling that you were watching that in particular. Not only was it Marlins and Mets, but it was Matt Harvey coming back from Tommy John surgery. When you watched Harvey pitch, and he pitched well, he was feeling under the weather. He was actually sick that day. What went through your mind when you saw him up there throwing as hard as he did when he before he was injured?
And it was weird because when I was a month in with surgery, I think that he actually was out here throwing bullpens, and he was almost at 12 months. And we're talking about how good he feels and the grip on the ball, and you know how fantastic it is and how good it feels. And by then I was not even thinking of throwing. I was in a lot of pain, obviously, but you know, it gave me like a fair shot to actually, you know, to actually take a look at the way that he was doing and the way that he was throwing the ball, and it helps. It really helps.
Now, what is your timetable now? What are you actually doing? I know we saw you in the spring that day where you had, I think it was the first time you actually threw off a mound. I would expect there were a few butterflies on that day, and that was the 1st of March.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, man. I was nervous. I was about to pitch my first time in the big leagues. That's what I was thinking. So, I mean, I was probably more nervous there than the first time that I actually pitched in big league. Right here, I'm just thinking about, you know, all the 4 months, you know, 6-7 months behind that. So, you know, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of hard work, and it's been a lot of help from so many people, man, from my family, from, you know, for the team. For right there, you see, you know, Sean, you see Ron, you see that Rosie, that, you know, you see Chuck there, and you know, it's just an honor, and obviously the fans right there giving the support and the love like always.
High pop from Stanton. Ugla behind Zimmerman makes the catch. Where are you now? Are you throwing breaking balls yet?
Yeah. So really good. I think we're about to go in a really good part right now. I think the 30th of this month, I'm going to do my first live BP.
Really?
Yeah.
And then, so 30th of this month, that puts you into May. And I would expect at some point in May, you're starting to make actual starts in the minor leagues.
That is the plan. Yeah, that is the plan. I don't really know exactly that day because it's you know, I think I got a couple of things to do right before that. But you know, we're looking good, man. And I think we're excited. I think we're happy that where we're at right now. and hopefully I can go. Can't get back to be sitting in the dugout and sweating right now, giving my team a chance to win.
Michael Morse is up right now. There are 2 outs. And Jordan Zimmermann looks like the guy that no-hit the Marlins on the last day of last year. Miami with 2 hits, but without a run. D. Gordon is leaning. And Zimmermann steps off. Jose Fernandez joining us after a busy day. U.S. citizen that this morning. What was the toughest question on your exam? There is an exam that goes with it, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, there was a couple of, and it's not the tough. I mean, you really have to study them. It's not like you're going to go there guessing, because I think there are 100 questions, and they can ask you any of them. Obviously, I think if you answer the first 5 right, I mean, that was my case. I answered the first five rights, and they didn't ask me anything else. They just asked me how to read one and how to write one down, and it was great. But they asked me I think the voters in the House Representative, I think there are 435. And
so that's what I'm saying. You know that. I'll bet you there's a lot of other kids your age that don't know that.
Oh, I know that because I study. I study a lot, and my girlfriend, when she's down there watching the game,
a little flip the second.
She helped me to study a lot, so thanks to her, I passed it, I think.
It's great to see you.
Thanks,
congratulations on becoming a U.S. citizen, and we look forward to seeing you in a month and a half or 2 months.
All right, boss.
All right, buddy. Take care. Jose Fernandez, 1-0. Nationals. By your local Chevy dealers. Visit your South Florida Chevy dealers today. By Checkers. Get Checkers Authentic Philly Cheesesteak. Try the new Meatball Sub. Pick yours, 2 for $5. And by Cleveland Clinic. Cleveland Clinic, Florida's 5K Run Walk will be held April 26th in Weston. Register at clevelandclinicflorida.org. Wilson Ramos leads it off. A little tapper to third. Martin Prado is there. All right, back in the booth, our all-star cast replacing Tommy Hutton, who is under the weather. Hutt, get well soon. Carl Pavano, Preston Wilson. Watching this ball game, you would be hard-pressed to understand the struggles that Jordan Zimmermann has had, because he sure looks good here tonight. Matt Latos, for the most part, has looked better than his first 3 starts.
Well, I'd say early on, the Marlins actually helped Zimmermann out by chasing a few pitches out of his zone. I think he actually grew confidence from that and has been pitching a lot better in the last couple innings.
Yeah, he's expanding the zone. I mean, he's shown that he had, early on he had more comfort with his slider, throwing it 3-1, 3-2 to Stanton, 2-1 to a couple guys. But he still has solid stuff. And when he gets ahead, you never really know what's coming.
This is Dan Uggla. Now, of course, Uggla brought in. The Nationals had a slew of injuries in spring training. Uggla arrived with Anthony Rendon down. Yunel Escobar had an injury as well. Jason Worth was out. Swing and a miss there, and it's 1-2. And so Uggla had a great spring, made the team, and maybe not a surprise that the Nationals were the team to give Uggla a shot. Mike Rizzo, their very successful general manager, drafted Uggla when Rizzo was a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks front office. Of course, the Marlins got Uggla as a Rule 5 draft pick from Arizona. Uggla hits a pop behind Morris. Gordon is there. Latos has a couple quick outs here in the 5th. South Florida Honda dealers bring you Marlins Live. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine. Oh, brother. For the first time in their history, the Marlins have brothers on the team. Jonathan has been called up and joins Donovan. Jonathan was with the Marlins in spring training. Jared Saltalamacchia on paternity leave. And so the two brothers who made their major league debuts back in 2012, close, certainly off the field. Now, for the first time in a long time, since their really young days, they get to play on the same team.
Could you imagine their parents being at the game tonight, watching, both of their sons suit up, being on the same team, same field? It's pretty cool.
0-2 to Jordan Zimmerman. Well, his parents can ditch the Nationals gear. When they played here against each other, the parents attended the game, and one night mom would wear the Nationals, dad the Marlins. Then they'd switch the next night. This is when they met. You go back to that 2012. Donovan had just been called up a week prior. Jonathan gets called up, and there's mom and dad.
That's great.
Nationals and Marlins. At the time, they were the 11th and 12th Colombians to get to the big leagues. I think that number is up to 14.
So they switched jerseys. That's pretty neat.
Latos, the 1-2. You can see the type of athlete that Jordan Zimmerman is. He's a tough out as a pitcher, was an accomplished wide receiver.
Yeah, he's built like, I was going to say, he's built like a linebacker.
Yeah, he was a very good wide receiver growing up in Auburndale, Wisconsin. Swing and a miss. A 1-2-3 inning for Matt Latos. Halfway through, it's 1-0 Washington. Night at the ballpark, a little taste of Nollins. costumes. We've seen some beads. No floats in the ballpark yet. Now, baseball in the Big Easy, you go back to the Pelicans. I know that's the NBA team now, but it was the baseball team that was founded in 1865. Shoeless Joe, Earl Weaver, Bob Lemon, just some of the names. That stopped in 57, and then the Denver Zephyrs, which was managed by Jack McKeon, by the way, moved to New Orleans. They kept the Zephyr name. That's a roller coaster from Pontchartrain Amusement Park. And so baseball in the Big Easy. Jack McKeon was the skipper when the Zephyrs were a Denver team. All right. I turn to my all-star panel now. How do the Marlins solve Jordan Zimmerman, Marcell Ozuna, JT Realmuto, and Ichiro up right now?
I've seen a few of the Marlins hitters chasing the high fastball. They definitely got to stay off that and just get yourself back under control. Their bats aren't terrible, but they're also having at bats where they're swinging at things they're not looking for. You know, you're not looking for a 3-1 slider like Stanton was your first at bat. You're not looking for an 0-0 curveball. So you got to make sure that you're swinging at what you're looking for.
You know, when you're out there on the mound, guys that are anxious, you like facing those guys because you know you get into hitters or pitchers counts, it's wide open. You can expand the zone. You know they're going to swing, and you're doing the pitcher a favor when you're swinging at balls that are out of the zone. It's hard to not do, but you know you're doing this guy that has above average stuff by swinging at balls. You're doing him a huge favor.
Well, this guy at the plate has got one of the 2 hits that the Marlins have tonight.
And he's swinging it well, and Ozuna crushes one to center field. Span goes back, looks, reaches, got it. 410 feet from home plate. Denard Span makes a terrific running catch, and Ozuna is a loud out number 1 in the bottom of the 5th.
That was a good route.
That's a great route by an outfielder, but I tell you, that's a home run in most ballparks in this league, and it's a shame to hit a ball that well, that hard, and to not get rewarded for it.
JT Realmuto coming up. Span has been a really nice addition. The DC native grew up in Tampa. And a very good offensive year last year. Now Realmuto to center. Span goes back again and makes a running catch. At the wall, Span makes the grab. And there are 2 outs. Marlins and Mets open their series on Monday at 7:10. All you can eat KM beef franks, peanuts, popcorn, nachos, Pepsis, and Aquafina for just $30. All first responders with ID will get complimentary tickets on South Florida Heroes Mondays, presented by Outback. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. Span playing the part of a wide receiver here, going deep on 2 consecutive plays.
I had the pleasure of having him in Minnesota as my center fielder, and he was a lot of fun to watch out there. He takes such good routes.
Ichiro fouls a pitch back.
Always prepared, always in the game, ready to make a play, ready to get the big hit.
His routes are outstanding. He's got some of the best footwork of any center fielder that I've seen.
Ichiro up the middle. Desmond dives. He'll never get Ichiro now. He's got himself a hit. Well, Marlins have hit the ball hard at times tonight. Ozuna and Realmuto certainly this inning. Ichiro a 2-out single. Here's Echeverria.
It's a good job just slapping that ball up the middle. Ian Desmond, you just got to eat that. You know, you don't want to start piling up unnecessary errors. This didn't become an error, but when you take unnecessary chances, it leads to it. So you don't throw that ball. Don't compound an error. You already gave up a hit, fine. Keep your team right where they need to be and just hold on to that.
It's a great point. 3 hits for Miami, 3 hits for Washington. Echeverria, who lined out to Span in center back in the 3rd, is up. He takes off the plate. What does it mean when a hitter is late to everything? Frank Menachino saying about Echeverria that first homestand.
Well, it all starts from your feet. If you don't get your stride done, get your foot down in time, you tend to rush everything. And being late can actually make you early because it disrupts the timing of you actually seeing the ball, recognizing what it is, and getting a swing off. When you're late with your feet, now you don't have that time. Now you're trying to swing and recognize at the same time. That's when you see guys swing at that breaking ball way out front.
Now, a hitting coach will recognize that. Pavy, what about a pitching coach or a pitcher when you see a struggling hitter that's late to the ball? Do you see that? And if you do, what do you do with it?
Yeah, I mean, you got to feast on that as a pitcher. I mean, your job as a pitcher is to mess up their timing. You want to, if they're not that way, you want to get them that way.
Echeverria into center field. Yeah, that's a solid hit. First and second, and it's Latos who comes up.
Great swing.
Just a good, solid job getting down on time. Now he's got time to recognize and get that swing off. Can let the ball get deep because he's seen the ball a little bit longer. Yep. Strokes that ball into right center.
And to take it a step further, when your timing's on, you can stay on top of that ball. When his timing's off, that ball either breaks your bat, you roll it over, or it beats you.
When you're late, your body tends to want to collapse because that's the way you feel you can get the bat to the zone quicker. Yep. Everything folds. So when you're on time, that swing that you take in the cage off the tee becomes that swing that's in the game because a cage is a controlled environment. Everything slows down. And when you can do that in the game, it's fun to watch.
Now Latos, little dribbler up the line, and it's foul. The Marlins in this inning have hit 4 balls hard. Span ran down 2. The next 2 are on base. That's what you were talking about, Preston.
Yeah, see that? His foot's already down. That ball's middle of the plate, but he's able to let that get deep. Hits it right on the barrel. You see the balance. Everything works in sync when you're on time and ready.
Latos center field. And it's in there for a hit. Here comes Ichiro. And the throw. It's tied at 1.
Do it yourself, big man.
Pretty good, Latos. 2 sliders in a row. The second one he left up there, and he got a good piece of the bat on it. Great at bat.
Yeah, that's just a hanging slider right there. Good job staying through it. Look at the head right down on that. Latos, you got to be pretty proud about that.
That's great.
Head stayed right down on it. Got a little off the end.
Oh, the other pitchers are going to hear about that, I'm sure.
Look at him. He's psyched, boy. Yeah.
That's the sign a lot of the hitters do, the tap of the helmet. Lato's been waiting to do that for a while, and it's got to feel good. They tied this game at 1, and you got D. Gordon up with speed at second in Echeverria.
This game makes no sense sometimes. Yeah. He hit a ball on the nose, probably about as well as he can hit it to left center, his first at bat. Jason Worth runs it down. Hits a ball off the end that drops in front of the center fielder that he didn't quite square up. He gets a base hit and an RBI to tie up the game.
Toyota trend tonight on D. Gordon. Most hits through 16 games as a Marlin. D. Gordon at the top of the list. Some good names on there. Mikey Lowell, Juan Pierre, Hanley Ramirez. Big lead by Echeverria. And Gordon takes outside. Gordon is bounced to short. He's got a hit as well. Nice road trip for Gordon. Celebrated a birthday on the trip. Gordon now 27. And Zimmerman misses up and in. And it's 2-0. Steve McCaddy came out, pitching coach for the Nationals. Zimmerman still at a pretty manageable 65 pitches here in the bottom of the 5th.
Carl, what do you think that meeting went like out there when you pitching coach comes out, gave up a base hit for a run scoring RBI single?
You know, a lot of the times the pitching coach notices that the pace of the game is just picking up and quickening up on the pitcher, and everything's happening really fast. It's to give him a breather just so he can collect his thoughts, take a deep breath, because some pitchers, they start going faster and faster and faster, and compounds the problem instead of just taking a nice step off the mound and taking a deep breath and collecting yourself.
So some guys you want to slow down, you're saying?
Yep.
All right. See, this is fun. I get to ask a pitcher this stuff now, you know, so I can understand what was going on in their heads. All the stuff when I was in there struggling.
What do you
in
think
the
we're doing
box.
out there? Hey, where are we going to dinner?
Probably just hanging out, saying, hey, how you feel? Is it warm to you? You know, I don't know.
Just kidding.
It's like two Cold War countries swapping secrets here. Gordon has fought off 3 pitches, sent him into the seats. Look at exactly where Zimmerman is working him. Right up in a line, outer half, and elevated.
But I don't know if that's necessarily by design, because we've seen Zimmerman really struggle getting the ball down, especially his fastball tonight, more than we've ever seen it.
He gets another fastball here, 2-2. All right, threw him a breaking ball. Gordon stays alive, fouls it at the plate.
You know, his first at bat, he did work him away a lot because he fouled off that one ball into the dugout that hit the. So he's been consistently over there, but I'm surprised he gets another ball up in the zone. I think we're going to find it down the line.
The Nationals outfield very shallow, especially in left with Worth, and well towards that left field line. Up in. Count full. That means Echeverria will start from second and Latos a jump from first.
This is going to be interesting here. All game when he's gotten in trouble, he's gone to that slider. Bases loaded, 3-2 count. I mean, first and second, 3-2 count. We got to see what he goes with right here.
Runners on the move. Slider into right field, a base hit. Echeverria scores. Latos into third. Gordon streaking to second, and he is out at second base. The good throw by Harper, who has a cannon in right, but Gordon knocks in a run, and Miami has taken the lead. He went slider, Preston Wilson, and Miami has a 2-1 lead. Major League Baseball moments. On this day in Major League history, 1946, former Washington Senators manager and GM Clark Griffith inducted into Baseball Hall of Fame with 10 players, including the legendary double play combo of Tinker to Evers to Chance. That is your Geico Major League Baseball moment from 1946. Tommy Hutton is under the weather tonight. Carl Pavano, Preston Wilson sitting in and watching what has been an entertaining ball game, a pitcher's duel to some extent. And I think, guys, that of concern for the Marlins here, lost in the euphoria of getting 2 runs, the fact that Matt Latos was running around the bases a lot that inning. He busted it down to first, and then he was going first to third on the Gordon hit. He's not in the best of shape with that knee that was banged up in spring training. Concern you, Carl Pavano?
Yeah, I think it's a valid concern. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, he looks pretty solid out there. He took his time through his warm-ups. He had
a little extra time, I think he should be all right. But we'll see how the inning goes.
Third time through for the national hitters, and Span takes in. It's Denard Span, it's Ian Desmond, and it's Jason Worth.
Latos was able to work through the bottom of the order the last time out, but the previous time when the top of the order and the middle of the order came up, there were some hard hit balls.
You were with us in the bottom of the fourth. Jose Fernandez went from dugout to booth. A fun interview, some really interesting stuff about becoming a U.S. citizen this morning, his rehab, working his way back. Fastball misses up. We get incredible access to Marlin players, manager Mike Redmond, coaches, while we're on the air during games. And believe me when I say this, most major league teams cannot say that. And we're very fortunate, and we appreciate having Jose up in the booth. And Latos misses on all 4 pitches, walks Span, and here comes Desmond.
Rich, along those lines, when he left you, I said to him, hey, why don't you, on one of those road games when you're watching, instead of watching from the comfort of your couch, come into the studio with Carl or Preston and myself? He said, that sounds like a good idea. So we're going to set it up, maybe the next road trip. We'll see. Jose will join us in Fort Lauderdale in our studio.
Well, you better hurry, Craig, because
yes.
He told me as he left and we were in commercial, he said, you know what? I really want to pitch right now, and I can't wait to get out there and pitch in those minor league games. So it sounds like the timetable is he's right on schedule.
It's up, huh?
Everything is going well, and May will include some of his first starts in the minor leagues.
Well, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Maybe that timetable, it would be more of a June than a July. We'll have to see.
Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, thank you, Craig. Here is Ian Desmond. Span away from first. Latos to the plate, and he throws a strike.
He's got to get back on track here. I think, that point you brought up, Rich, it obviously did affect him. Everything was up. He was underneath the ball, rushing through his delivery. Maybe being on the stretch and having a little less movement will help him get back down in the zone.
I think this batter is going to be a very big batter for him. If he struggles with this batter, you're going to see some action down there in that bullpen.
And Desmond's last at bat, he took a first pitch slider and hit it to right center, if you remember. So try to keep this guy from getting his arms extended. Maybe turn 2 right here.
Thrown a couple strikes. He's out in front 0-2.
I like that pitch.
Yeah.
I like him working guys in occasionally to keep them honest.
Yep.
Carl, you and I were talking earlier. No matter what your velocity is, you have to throw guys in some.
And he hasn't done that much. That was a very well low. And the rest of the guys coming up the lineup, they saw that pitch in because they haven't seen many spotted well inside.
0-2.
And another good pitch. Doubling up is another dangerous weapon, especially when he has complementary pitches that he could throw on the outside corner. And these guys have seen all those. Now all of a sudden they get a fastball in and he doubles up. Now the next guy comes up and he throws a fastball in. He could play that cat and mouse game that you talk about and start getting in their heads, start moving the ball around and show that consistent inconsistency of location.
Well, and now he's put himself in a situation where he doesn't have to open himself up to being in the middle of the strike zone. He can throw that breaking ball off the plate. He can go up with a fastball, which Ian Desmond will chase sometimes.
0-2 coming. Span still at first. And he's running. Got a huge jump. And Desmond, with 2 strikes, has no choice but to swing and foul it off. And that's a break for Miami. And that'll send Span back to first. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins, Carl Pavano, and Preston Wilson. You guys have to sign off.
Desmond still has not shown that he can handle that fastball in. Do you agree, Preston?
Absolutely.
So I like that pitch. He expanded the zone. He kept it off the plate, not for a strike. Gets him leaning out again, and let's see if he goes back in here for either the ground ball or strikeout.
Well, as a hitter, when you're behind in the count, one of the toughest things is having a guy who's throwing the ball on both sides of the plate, because it's a whole lot harder to zone him up.
Latos to throw to first.
What a lot of pitchers don't realize is that your margin for error is better when you're showing that you could throw for both sides of the plate, because guys just aren't ready. Guys are leaning, guys are back on their heels. That little seesaw game really takes hitters out of their rhythm.
Latos, who was out in front 0-2 now, count even 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now he's gone away twice with the last 2 pitches. Do you think now is the time that you go ahead and try to pound him to get that double play ball?
You know, he kind of looks like, to me, like he's looking for that ball in, because he did not lean over the plate at all and get on his front foot on those pitches away. So I kind of like.
To right, Stanton is there, and he makes the catch. Tonight on Fox Sports Live, Mets and Yankees both in first place. We'll have highlights of that matchup. And the Rangers, not the Texas ones, but the New York ones, can put an end to Sidney Crosby's season. The Mavericks, without Rajon Rondo, trying to avoid a 3-0 hole against the Rockets. It's after the game. It's Fox Sports Live. It's on Fox Sports 1 and here on Fox Sports Florida tonight.
Nice job coming back by Latos to get Ian Desmond.
Great job.
Now Worth, who was flied to right twice.
You wonder, Worth, coming back from the shoulder, those balls that he hit to the right, he clicked them pretty good. You wonder with a healthy shoulder where those balls end up.
Well, you mentioned a pitcher not getting all the starts that he needs in spring training. It happens for a batter as well. Especially your big guy like Worth, it takes a while to get enough at bats to feel like you're comfortable, that you're handling all the pitches you normally handle, that you're recognizing the ball for what it is. And for me, I always felt like it was somewhere around 40 or so at bats. 40, could have been 45, but somewhere in that range, I felt like it started to click, where I started to see the ball really well out of the pitcher's hand, start recognizing what the pitches were, and squaring up the ball to where I hit it in the game. You get that same backspin or that distance that you can when you're in batting practice.
Surgery was January 9th, right AC shoulder joint, and came off the disabled list on April 13th, a week into the season.
And no matter how much rehab you do, nothing's like facing major league pitching.
Span leaning at first and running, got a good jump, pitches low, and Real Muto's got no shot. Just the 3rd stolen base for the Nationals this year.
That's definitely stolen off of Latos. That jump is a really good jump. He was able to see him throw over enough so that you can understand what the move is like. And sometimes the hardest thing for a base stealer to do is to steal against a guy who doesn't throw over, because you don't know what that difference is. As a base stealer, you look for keys. You look for something that's different when you're going home as opposed to when you're throwing over there. And if you don't have anything to gauge it off of, sometimes that's the toughest time to run.
Span's first stolen base of the year. He had 31 last year, and Worth, maybe that's part of that shoulder. He couldn't stop the swing.
We used to call that waving the magic wand right there. That's a fairy godmother swing.
Good pitch.
2-2.
I didn't realize he had that shoulder surgery, and that's only 4 months ago.
Yes.
I mean, surgeries take time. He's come back pretty quick from this.
Into right center, Ozuna is there, and he makes a running catch. Span holds at second, but one more hitter, and a tough one in Bryce Harper to get for Latos.
When you're dealing with a shoulder injury, the hardest thing is to feel like you can get that full extension with your swing through the zone. And even once you're healed, it takes that time to get the confidence to go ahead and give that full swing to let you drive the ball.
And you'll find a lot of times when you come back from surgeries or injuries, the strength isn't there, the timing isn't there, and you start to create. And the more you create, the worse your habits get, and the worse your mechanics get. It's tough to stay within yourself when you have those limitations physically. That was a great pitch right there. He hadn't thrown Worth an inside fastball all game. Worth, kind of bad swing on that slider, and then he comes up and in and jams him. That was a really good at bat.
All right, for both of you, first base is open here, and you've got a guy that's had a nice start to the season. Harper rips it right field. Stanton on a hop, span around third, and the throw home is high. The Nationals have tied it, and I couldn't get the sentence out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Would you rather have faced Ryan Zimmerman or a hot Harper? And it's Harper who rips it to right. He's driven in both runs tonight for the Nationals.
For so many reasons, you don't let this guy beat you in this situation. For one, you got the base open. Two, he's a left-handed hitter. Three, he's their best hitter probably going right now. He's got 4 home runs. He's their most dangerous hitter in a crucial situation. You don't let that guy tie up the game with the base open.
I do like the adjustment that he had there, Latos, because the last at bat Harper had, it was a first pitch fastball in, then he drove into the gap. Right there, he went with a breaking ball away, got him out front, but still got a good part of the bat on it. But not a bad pitch. A little better. A lot of times, it's the location that hurt him. Maybe that pitch is down, he rolls it over. He just a little too much of the plate.
See, for me, when you're talking about driving in runs, I know you're not going to pitch me the same with nobody on as you do when there's men in score position. So I think Harper may have had a different mindset in that at bat.
I mean, he showed he could handle both sides of the plate. Like I said, the last at bat was a fastball in at 92, and this is an off speed away. That's a good player, that young man.
And he's still young, and that's the thing you forget about Bryce Harper. He's just 22. He's at first with 2 outs, and Latos will chase him back. Matt Latos at 77 pitches. It's been a fun matchup. Matt Latos, Jordan Zimmerman.
I realized Zim hit the double the last time against Latos, but at the same time, it was just a hanging breaking ball.
He's running, and Harper has another huge jump. The throw is on the money, and Gordon with the tag. Bryce Harper is caught stealing. JT Realmuto throws out Bryce Harper, but not before Harper ties the game at 2. Days are Flashback Fridays. Every Friday we flash back, and it's brought to you by Jeep. Tonight, just post the best vintage Marlins photo of yourself. Maybe a cap, maybe a cowboy hat, maybe cowboy boots. He's got a jersey going. hashtag Flashback Marlins, and we'll select the best photo and feature it in the post-game show. Just hashtag it Flashback Marlins. We have a Flashback Marlin booth tonight. We just should take a selfie and send it in, because I'm with two flashback guys, Carl Pavano and Preston Wilson. Tommy Hutton is under the weather. And Hut, we hope to see you soon. Jordan Zimmerman's still in there. Martin Prado pops it up. Ryan Zimmerman is there to make the catch. As Jordan Zimmerman's got an out here in the bottom of the 6th. Here comes Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton hit that laser beam home run yesterday. He did not have a great day at the plate aside from that. It was just 1 for 5. That homer, 118 miles an hour off the bat. Got under that one. And Worth makes the catch. Boy, he just missed that one. T-Mobile Game Changers. Here they are, plural. Game changers. Atleto 6 innings, 2 runs. Jordan Zimmerman 5 2/3, 2 runs. And the Marlins get 6 hits off of Zimmerman. Of course, the last time they faced him, last game last year, first no-hitter in Nationals history. Now Morse tried to send one up into the seats, fouls it back.
You can see him starting to mix it up on these big guys. First pitch slider to Stanton, then a fastball in. First pitch to Morse, fastball in. Playing that little cat and mouse game so these guys can't get up there and be predicting what he's going to throw. And he doubles up there. He hadn't seen many double ups on fastballs in that he's meant to throw in.
I don't think Zimmerman's going to try to throw Morse too many fastballs out over the plate. I think he's going to expand with that slider and go fastball middle in, because he played with him and they know that Morse likes to get his arms extended.
Yep.
Got him. Country hardball, 93 miles an hour. Jordan Zimmerman goes 1, 2, 3 through the fish, 6 in the books. Matt Lato's back to work. The top of the 7th and a 2-2 game. Some Mardi Gras fun. Little D. Gordon dance. Mardi Gras terminology. Louisiana terminology. I know Mardi Gras. That's Fat Tuesday. Lanyap. I needed help with that one. It's Cajun for a little something extra. That's like a little something something. Press, you get the last one.
And the last one is Laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll, baby.
Oh, I had no idea.
It is a Mardi Gras night and in a well-pitched game night. Carl Pavano, Preston Wilson, Tommy Hutton under the weather tonight. It's been fun tonight. We've had 3 really good starting pitchers tonight. Jordan Zimmerman, Matt Latos, and Jose Fernandez, who came up in uniform, in full uniform, into the booth to tell us about receiving and earning U.S. citizenship, his rehab process, what it's been like to watch the Marlins. You guys have watched the Marlins over these first 2 weeks. You know, everyone felt the sky was falling about 3-4 days ago. What have you seen from this ball club? A 5-11 team. Echeverria plants and makes the play. What have you guys seen the first 2.5 weeks of the year?
Well, the first thing that stands out to me is how well they played defensively. I think the team has only made 5 errors all year, and they're really good defensively all over the field. Secondly, is that this lineup has gotten a lot deeper than it has been in the past couple of years. You got Ed swing the bat well at the bottom. When you add a hitter like Prado to the mix, now you got that everything guy you can put in your lineup. You can hit him anywhere.
Yeah, I think the depth. I mean, you lose someone like Yelich, which no team would want, and you got Ichiro that you could throw out there that you know is going to do a very serviceable job. And these guys are really learning how to play with each other. The team's starting to come together. The pitching staff, you can see Latos really, as the game's going on, he's gotten a lot better. And he's making improvement from start to start. And the error isn't getting taken out of the sails as easily. These guys are going out and competing and knowing that they're going to win ball games. They just got to play solid defense, play both sides of the diamond. Escobar takes a strike. Count is 1-1. If Miami can get 7 innings out of Matt Latos, that would be outstanding. Remember, Latos in his first 3 starts went for just 9 2/3 innings.
What I like is this time through the lineup, you're starting to see him establish more on that inside part of the plate to batters. First couple times through, everything was either away or middle. Now you're starting to see him work those guys in, and now they're starting to get a little bit more conscious. It's actually going to make it easier for him to throw that breaking ball now because he's standing them up a little bit.
That one goes through Prado and into left field. Escobar around first.
That's that ball that just eats you up. If you don't make the right move first, it's going to get you. And Prado had just a little hesitation. As soon as that ball was hit, see him right there, and then he decides to come in. You got to come in as soon as you see it. That little hesitation cost him that play. See that? You got to go when you see that big hop. He stayed back, ball ate him up. It would have been a great play if he makes that play. But when you stay back like that, the ball plays you. That's one of the rules that Perry Hill has. Ball hits dirt. That means as an infielder, you're coming for it. Ball hits grass, not so fast. I don't think he puts it quite like that at the end, but in the dirt, Real Muto knocks it down. Now that's easy to say, and we watch that in slow motion. But at third base, it's the blink of an eye. Yeah, and then add some top spin on a solid hit ball like that. It's not very easy. Well, and the thing is, once you do make that mistake, and even though it can be painful, you just got to block it up. You got to hockey goalie it and then try to knock it down and throw it over there because it is hit hard enough where that runner's not out of the box that far yet. A.J. Ramos getting ready in the pen. Wilson Ramos at the plate, and he swings and misses. Counts 1-1. He's got that really good downward plane working tonight, something he didn't have in his first few starts. That's just going to continue to get better the more reps he gets. Like we touched on, him being a bigger guy, it takes a little while to get all those parts moving together properly. Hit well into center field. Ozuna picks it up. Escobar stops at second. Ramos has got a hit. Here comes Dan Ugla. Fish Family, the exclusive loyalty program for Marlin fans. All season ticket holders automatically enrolled, earn points, rewards. Fish Family offers opportunities to earn bucket list Marlin moments. Reward yourself like never before. You've already earned the points. Now use them at marlins.com/fishfamily. Ugla
coming to the plate has struck out and popped out. Mike Redmond coming to the mound, and it looks like the end for Matt Latos. A.J. Ramos in the bullpen. And Redmond arrives. He hasn't made the call yet. He may be trying to buy some time for Ramos. And it's exactly what he was doing. So Matt Latos is on his way out. A.J. Ramos is coming in. Our Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Is done. 6 1/3 innings. Currently just the 2 runs, a walk and 4 strikeouts, but he's responsible for Yunel Escobar and Wilson Ramos. 2 hard hit balls for hits. Actually, Zimmerman's grounder that Echeverria snared was hit pretty well to open the inning, and so A.J. Ramos is in. Ramos making his 9th appearance. As Mike Redmond turns it over to the bullpen here.
I like this matchup for Ramos because he has the ability to throw a good slider, and he has that good running fastball that can give Uggla trouble when you tie him up with it.
Ramos, a relief pitcher with a starter's arsenal.
He's got good stuff.
One of the guys that really encouraged him when he got to the big leagues to throw that curveball as a reliever, as his 3rd pitch, which has come a long way, was Ozzie Guillen. Ozzie saw him throw that pitch one night and said, "That's one of your, keep throwing that." 0-2, and Uggla can't check. He went around.
That's exactly why I said he was a good fit for Uggla. He tied him up with that fastball in after starting him off with a slider, then got him conscious inside, and he swung so early on that last pitch. He was out. That ball's halfway to the plate. That was a strikeout already.
Well executed.
That's just no chance right there.
He's a guy that's going to swing the bat. You know it. You got to get ahead with him, and you really don't have to throw a strike. You just got to stay around the dish, and you're going to get your strikeouts on that guy.
Well, the inning now with 2 outs, the Marlins have somewhat knocked Jordan Zimmerman out of the ball game, and a familiar face stands in. Reed Johnson, whom the Marlins cut near the end of spring training, found a home with the Nationals, is up. He takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. Johnson, well respected, well liked, a really nice contributor for the Marlins last year. One of the better pinch hitters in the game. See, 2 for 12 this year. Pulls a ground ball. Prado has it. Across the diamond in time. A.J. Ramos bails out Matt Latos. 7th inning stretch in Miami tonight. The opener of a 3-gamer. The Marlins and the Nationals tied 2-2. Bottom 7. And A.J. Ramos getting the final out. A bouncer from Reed Johnson.
A.J. just came out blazing, didn't he? Strike after strike on all his pitches.
First one to greet him, Matt Latos. So Latos, his line is complete. Miami has to be pretty pleased. 6 in the 3rd, 6 hits, 2 runs, a walk and 4 strikeouts. Tomorrow, remember, it's a 4 o'clock start, 3:30 for Marlins Live. Chevron brings you tomorrow's starters. Steven Strasburg, Tom Kohler. Both pitchers would like to shave a run or 2 off of their ERAs. That's tomorrow. Now, Tanner Roark for the Nationals. Roark and a few others trying to fill the void left by Tyler Clippard, trade that sent him to Oakland, by Rafael Soriano leaving, which sent Drew Storen into the closer's role. The Nationals used to be a lockdown bullpen, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Ozuna fouls it at the plate. Marcell Ozuna, JT Realmuto, and Ichiro here in the 7th.
Ozuna's had some nice at-bats tonight. Even the ball that he made an out on was a really good swing.
Busted his bat. It's over the middle. Backhanded by Ugla, and he gets him. One out here in the 7th. In fact, the Nationals, much like the Braves, have a bullpen full of guys that don't have a lot of major league experience. As the relievers walked out to the pen right before first pitch. Realmuto lifts it in the air to right. Harper is there. Usually it's the rookie that has to take the snacks out in a pink, usually it's Hello Kitty type backpack. There were 3 pink backpacks on their way out to the Nationals bullpen.
What a fun tradition that is for those relievers, isn't it? Do you remember the first outfit, your rookie outfit? Do you remember what you wore?
Yes, I had on a like a purple halter top dress. I look like Serena Williams.
There you go.
Oh, that's way too nice, though.
Yeah, it is.
They need some like My Little Pony or something like that.
These guys are making too much money over there.
Blake Trinan, I think Matt Grace is part of that, and Rafael Martin leads the way.
Love it.
Girl Scout cook. What's in there? I mean, and now, Pat, you didn't spend a whole lot of time in bullpens, but what do relievers usually stock their backpacks with?
Seeds, gum, candy, anything the other guys tell you to bring.
Etro rolls out. Tanner Roark looks sharp, and it's still 2-2. Mardi Gras flavor tonight at Marlins Park in a 2-2 ball game. Two well-pitched games by the starters, Jordan Zimmerman and Matt Latos. Bryce Harper has knocked in both runs for the Nationals. D. Gordon gave Miami a temporary lead with an RBI single. Brian Morris comes out of Miami's bullpen. He'll try to pick up A.J. Ramos, who was outstanding, got the last 2 outs of the 7th. Morris gets the 8th.
Seeing all that Mardi Gras stuff makes me want some gumbo, man.
It's the top of the order. Denard Span, Ian Desmond, and Jason Worth. 6 hits apiece for the Marlins and the Nationals. Two hops, Gordon, and an out here in the 8th. In baseball tonight, some interesting news in that the relationship between the Los Angeles Angels and Josh Hamilton fractured, many felt, beyond repair. So much so that sources are saying that the Angels have traded Hamilton back to the Texas Rangers, where he had certainly his best success in the big leagues. Now he's owed $90 million, and the report is the Angels aren't expected to get any players, and this is from Yahoo Sports. Angels aren't expected to get any players, and the Angels are going to pick up $75 million of the $90 million owed. That's a big chunk of change to eat. Desmond bounces out.
You know, there were a lot of people that felt, myself included, felt like it wasn't really the fit for Josh Hamilton to go out to the West Coast anyway. I thought he was much better off in Texas. You know, anytime you have a situation like he had, and you find an organization that's willing to take a chance on you, to give you an opportunity to get back in the major leagues, I felt like it was the right environment for him. But I tell you who's got to be sitting around, well, actually not sitting around, but playing right now and having a little smirk on their face, and that's Torrey Hunter. Because they said they didn't have any money to keep him there, let him go, and then they signed Josh Hamilton.
Here's Worth. I think Torrey Hunter's in a good place, though.
Oh, he's in a great place right now.
He's back where he started, right?
Yes,
Minnesota?
He's in a great place right now. You know, I think he's happy, but it's one of those things as a player where he was a good player for them. He was a solid citizen in the clubhouse. He produced on the field, and you know they told him that there was no money, and then they go out and spend all that money to get a free agent. Well, you know, at least just be honest with me. Tell me you don't want me.
And Torrey Hunter was very, very vocal about his displeasure with that situation.
And he had a right to be. He's a veteran.
Yep.
He's been a good guy his whole major league career. He's got the numbers and the credentials to be afforded that respect, to be upfront with, and in that case, it did not happen.
You know, a lot of people say don't take it personal. It's not, you know, this is business, but you're right. He did his job.
Brian Morris has looked good out of the pen. He has a couple of ground ball outs, and he's 1-2 on Jason Worth. The fastball misses in, and it's 2-2. Saw the Nationals bullpen. Matt Grace, a lefty, just made his major league debut on Wednesday night. Full count. If you missed the start of the show, Christian Yelich placed on the 15-day disabled list, retroactive to Sunday.
The Marlins did the right job there. Those are tricky injuries, those back injuries. Such a young guy. You don't want to risk anything.
Now the retroactive part means, since he didn't appear in a game since that Sunday in New York, instead of having to stay on the disabled list 15 days from today, it's 15 days from last Sunday. So for Yelich, it could possibly be just a 10-day stay on the disabled list, and let's hope that that's what it is. But you're right, you got to get the back healthy and then go from there. This is the guy that has been a trouble spot all night. Bunt single in the second, sac fly to give the Nationals a run in the fourth, and then an RBI single to tie the game in the sixth.
Yeah, and you hate to see a 2-out walk to get to him.
Brian Morris throws hard.
That's the third at bat in a row he swung at the first pitch. He's really aggressive tonight.
Oh, he's hunting. He's trying to find something he likes, and he's turning it loose.
1 for 2, and that one a home run against Morris. Scouts will say one of the difference they see in Harper this year is, and he is aggressive tonight, but he's a lot more relaxed at the plate, in the field, on the bases. Sometimes, you know how players say the game speeds up on him? At times it felt like Harper was too fast for the game. He sped up on the game, and whether it was base running or fielding or hitting, it seems like he's just settling into his own. He's only 22.
Yes, he's still a young man.
Well, he was learning lessons in the major leagues that most kids get a chance to iron out in the minor leagues, as far as being able to relax on the field, being able to slow it down, not making every play a World Series caliber play, as far as trying to put that much importance on it. And when you're able to relax, now all this natural ability that everybody knows that this kid has is going to start showing up. He's still going to make great plays in the outfield. He's still going to run hard on the bases, but it's going to be more consistent because now the relaxation is there, and now that ability can show up.
He's been marketed hard in the last 2 or 3 years for those abilities, and this may be the year that those abilities fulfill all of that promise. 1-2. Fastball's up. And it's 2-2. And the Nationals, with all of this talent, Span, Desmond, Worth, Harper, Zimmerman, are without their best player from last year. And that's Anthony Rendon. He may be 2 weeks away. Just started his rehab assignment. In the air, but a long run for Prado. And it lands in the vacated spot, and the security guard reclaims his stool there.
Yeah, you got to get that stool out of the way. Come on, ball boy. Take it with you. Somebody's got to move that. Security guy. You can't leave that ball there. Craig, get the stool.
All right, I got it.
That boy, Craig.
Safety first. Now, that guy's got a helmet, and yeah, there, it's only right.
Oh, that's the culprit. Security guy down there.
I think the security guy, next time he leaves his post, take the stool with him.
Yes.
Head down the line, grab it, and run. 2-2 to Harper. Count's full now. 97 miles an hour.
His ball has so much life on it.
Incredible.
His fastball sometimes dives like a sinker. I mean, like a slider. It has such depth to it. And at that velocity, I don't know how he does it.
And he's not a max effort guy where you see, oh, God, this guy's trying so hard. He has a pretty smooth delivery, all out front.
Runner on the move, and the 3-2 is up and out. Brian Morse got the first 2 outs of the inning. 2-out walk to Jason Worth, and now one to Bryce Harper. Chuck Hernandez on his way out to talk to Morris. First of 3 weekend series, 4 o'clock start tomorrow. Steven Strasburg, Tom Kohler matchup, and it all starts at 3:30 with Marlins Live, brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. There's Strasburg. Strasburg, a lot of success lately against the Marlins. He's faced the Marlins more than any other opponent. Last 3 starts, 2-1 and 0.49 earned run average. Now Ryan Zimmerman, a double in 3 trips tonight.
Watching Zimmerman tonight, his at bats, he's hit a breaking ball hard. Everything else that he's had decent looks at seems to have been away from him. I think here might be a time where Morris may actually want to maybe go against the trend and try to pitch him in here. I know late in the game a lot of times pitchers don't like coming in because the short side of the field, but what do you think about that in this situation, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, he's seen so many pitches away. It seems like he's hanging over the dish. There's no doubt about it. And there's documents about his shoulder not being the healthiest shoulder. Sometimes crowding guys with those weaker shoulders, tough time turning on that baseball.
Tapper to short. Echeverria gets the out. Gordon at second. And Morris gets out of the top of the 8th. Danny Echeverria, red hot right now, leads it off. Marlins, Nationals, 2-2, bottom 8th. Marlins and Nationals opening a 3-game series. MLB.com ballpark app, perfect complement to your visit to Marlins Park or any major league venue. Maps of the ballpark, menus. You can order food from your seats. You can drag a bunt and then smother it with your foot, as Echeverria did in foul territory. Get the MLB.com ballpark app today. Echeverria continues a torrid run. His average at 317. He is now 7 for his last 9. And is hit in 7 straight games. That's not 7 of his last 9 games. That's 7 of his last 9 ABs. He's got a hit. Steve Cishek in Miami's bullpen.
Oh,
Echeverria toppers it. Left field deep. To the wall it goes. On his way to second. Stay hot, Adeiny Echeverria. Red hot.
Oh, when I saw this coming, I knew this ball was going to get squared up. Look at how nice and early he set up. Gets on top of that thing, head down and buried and swings through it. Look at that. Boom. You see how early that foot got down, Carl? You see how nice and easy that looked? When you're able to get there on time like that, you don't have to swing hard to produce that type of power. And he's looking so comfortable right now. It looks like he's sitting in a chair, like just nice and comfortable.
I'm a little surprised they went in there. I mean, they went in there his last at bat, and he did the same thing, hit that line drive up the middle.
Well, that's the difference when someone sees you when you're not doing your best. You can't handle certain pitches. But the way he's swinging the bat right now, the pitches they could get away with before, they can't right now. He's hammering them.
Donovan Solano is up. Echeverria's at second. Solano trying to bunt. Fastball up and in. Pops it up, and it's caught. And Solano half bunting, half trying to survive and get out of the way. Another look. Tanner Roark with a good live fastball up.
You know what? As a pitcher, they teach you to throw the ball up in the strike zone, but that's just self-defense. You're trying to not get hit in the chest right there. You know, some might call that, if he did it on purpose, some might call that a little dirty because you almost have to try to bunt at that ball to keep it from hitting you.
Yeah, it's more of a reaction. You're kind of protecting yourself from getting hit by the baseball.
All 30 clubs will teach you that. Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. After the game, Marlins Live post-game presented by Checkers. Bryce Harper having a nice night tonight. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine.
One of the things I'm looking at with the sack bunt right here is his front foot is actually over that inside batter's box line. That gives the pitcher an opportunity to be able to throw that ball right there at you. You want to get plate coverage, but make sure you stay in the box. That way you can get out of the way.
D. Gordon drops down a bunt, kicks it. Is he out of the box or in the box? If he's out, he's out. As in, it's an out. But the home plate umpire, T.J. Rayburn, pointing at the box. The Nationals up on the rail thought he was out. Here's a look. And
I hit him in the box.
Well, he's in the box.
Yeah, he's in the
that
box.
right foot was still in. Echeverria is the runner at second. Gordon trying to bring that bunt with him down the first baseline because Ryan Zimmerman is deep, and you got a lefty on the mound in Matt Grace, who spins and sends Echeverria back to second.
Tell you what, that's a big hole over there between short and third. With Escobar playing in, the shortstop playing out the middle, lefty on lefty, it's almost set up for him to hit the ball over there.
Little tapper over the middle. This is going to be a tough play at first, and Oakland has to eat it. Echeverria is at third. Gordon's got an infield hit, and here comes Prado.
I'll try something out for you, Rick. I know his dad's name was Flash Garden. I think we should start calling him Dash Garden.
And here's his mad dash down to first. Oh, there's no chance to get him. Once he elevates the ground ball.
Woo! I mean, there's not many people that I just enjoy watching run. Boy, he can get down that line, and once he gets after his third step, boom, he's gone. It's full speed. Mercy.
D. Gordon has 3 hits tonight, and he has knocked Matt Grace out of the game. Kendall Toyota called to the pen. And D. Gordon. Gordon's got 3 hits. Echeverria's got 2. And they're at the corners in a 2-2 game with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. And power right-hander Aaron Barrett is out of the Nationals bullpen to face Martin Prado and Giancarlo Stanton on deck. Ole Miss product and having a real nice start to 2015. Gordon might not be at first very long. He's running on the first pitch, taken for a strike, and he steals the bag without a throw.
I love that play. Get a guy, young guy coming in, pressure situation. He's going to not be paying much attention to you because he's worried about his bat. Take that bag, takes the double play off the table.
And a veteran in Prado at the plate, smart enough to take the pitch. Infield in now with 1 out. Gordon, Echeverria in scoring position. Barrett against Prado. Woo! Nasty breaking ball. No swing, says Joe West. 1-1.
Got out there a little early, was able to hold up.
That was close.
No, Prado hasn't had great at bats tonight, but this right here I think is a good setup for him.
Liner in the right field, base hit. Echeverria scores. Gordon will hold. Harper's got a cannon. And Stanton's coming up. And the Marlins have taken a 3-2 lead Martin Prado with an RBI single. Why was that such a good setup for Prado?
Well, he was able to see the breaking ball early in the at-bat. So now you're working with him already seeing the toughest pitch. Now you got the fastball to work on. Anytime you can see a reliever's secondary pitch early in that bat, that's in your favor. And being the professional hitter that he is, infield drawn in, there's just so many holes for him.
I've heard a lot of hitters say when they can eliminate pitches when they get in the game, it really makes them that much better of a hitter.
Now Giancarlo Stanton at the corners, still one out. Barrett went breaking ball to Prado. Fastball to Stanton, and he fouls it back. 96 miles an hour.
Last at bat, Stanton just missed one.
Gordon now at third. Prado at first. Gordon had to hold to make sure that line drive got through the infield. And then, of course, Harper was on it in an instant. Breaking ball and a bit of a flinch. It's 1-1. Steve Cishek is ready.
But right here, Stanton has got to stay off of that sinker. That's the only thing that's going to get him in trouble. Sac fly can happen with that curveball or fastball away. Stay off that fastball in.
Breaking ball away. 1-2. And it was way away. Prado chase back.
Now see, that's interesting with D. Gordon over there on third. If he's got a big enough lead and the throw isn't perfect to Zimmerman, there's potential there with the trouble that Zimmerman's had throwing.
Breaking ball. Stanton didn't swing.
Right here with Stanton, you got to say it's okay if I get jammed right here, because a lot of times when you get jammed, now the ball's so slow they can't turn a double play. And if you think about letting the ball come to you, now you're not going to be so far out front of that breaking ball away, and that's the pitch that's going to get him that easy sac fly.
Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and he struck him out. And it's up to Michael Morse if the Marlins want to add some insurance to what is a 3-2 lead.
After that first pitch fastball Stanton went after and fouled off straight back, they were not going to that fastball again. It was evident after those 3 sliders in a row.
Yeah, and you could tell he was not picking up that breaking ball well at all. He swung and missed at 2 and check swung at 1.
One of the breaking balls he threw in the at-bat kind of was in, so it made him flinch a little bit, and after that he was kind of pulling off some of the pitches.
Morse swings and misses. Now the middle of the Marlins order, the muscle so to speak, Stanton and Morse combined are 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts in this game. The Marlins have done their damage at the top and at the bottom of the order. Talked about Gordon and Echeverria, but Prado has a hit in the 2 spot to drive in a run. And don't forget, Matt Latos had an RBI single in the 5th, in the 9 spot. 0-2 to Morse.
To me, Morse looks like his setup is a little bit late to me.
Got a piece. Stays at 0-2.
But we have seen Morse, when they do hang that slider out over the plate and he gets those big long arms extended, that turns into a souvenir very quickly.
One and two.
This Washington staff's really saved their best pitches for these 2 guys. They've thrown these guys really tough today, between Stanton and Morse.
Cishek is ready. The Nationals have Escobar, Wilson Ramos, and Dan Uggla scheduled. That's exactly what Cishek is looking at. And then the pitcher spot for the Nationals is due up fourth in the top of the ninth. Miami has a run here. Gordon and Prado at the corners, 2 outs. Leading out for that breaking ball, and he's buzzed in.
Right, here's a hitter. You have to wash that out and get back to that breaking ball, because he's going to go back to it. The only reason why he threw this pitch was so that he can throw another breaking ball.
Yeah. And this is what we touched on all day, the premise of throwing inside. He was leaning over the plate. That's why he almost didn't get out of that pitch right there.
2-2. Let's see if the breaking ball follows.
Morris had a couple good swings, fouled one off nicely, and he wanted to get him off of it. But he's proven that he wants to throw that breaking ball. He's going back in there.
Morris a dribbler to third. Escobar across the diamond in time, and the inning is over.
It's a good job. Smart pitching right there, going doubling up in.
Steve Cishek will try to shut the door, close the game, and give Miami a Game 1 win of this weekend series. Your South Florida Honda dealers. By Cleveland Clinic. Cleveland Clinic, Florida's 5K run walk will be held April 26th in Weston. Register at clevelandclinicflorida.org. And by Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2, starring Kevin James. Now playing. Now pitching in Miami, Marlins closer Steve Cishek, who has been an undervalued, underused asset, because the Marlins haven't been in the position to save but one ball game, and that was against Tampa Bay. Cishek blew that save. It was a 1-run save, and he looked rusty at that point. The Marlins have been able to get him some work. But guys, he really hadn't been in this spot but one time this year, which is odd for a closer, and this is game number 17 of the season. Yunel Escobar, Wilson Ramos, Dan Uggla are the scheduled hitters for the Nationals. Strike.
Well, I got a feeling that the streak tonight is about them, because so far the Marlins are the only team in Major League Baseball without what, Carl?
A save.
So what are we going to do about that?
We're going to save right here.
Prado on his feet makes the play.
Wasn't that one?
And that helps right there. With plays like that behind you, I like our chances.
Oh, no hesitation there. Good first move.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great first step. He barely caught that in the glove. If he hesitates at all, that's a base hit.
And that's a strike.
That gets your pitcher blood flowing. Now he's feeling a little confident. I like that.
If there's any anxiety in Cishek, I'd say that play right there helps a lot.
H.H. Gregg high-def look at the Prado play. Now Ramos swings and misses. Cishek did work 2 days ago, Wednesday, in the 6-1 Miami win in Philly. He went around on that one. Flashback Friday. Hashtag your vintage Marlins photo. Flashback Marlins. Maybe we'll get it on Marlins Live postgame. It's your last chance, kids. 0-2 pitch. Soft pop-up. Echeverria out. Shallow left center. Makes the catch. There are 2 outs. And Cishek looks sharp.
Well, we talked about the Marlins defense coming into this game, and that's a great example of when you have a good defense, it really can help out the pitcher and help out his confidence, because that could have very easily been a base hit, and now you got Cishek thinking, oh man, I came in, I get the first guy on. It just changes the whole game.
It really turns over the lineup too. You got the bottom of the lineup. That ball gets through. You never know what happens when you know these big guys start coming up in these crucial spots.
Clint Robinson didn't check his swing. Kerwin Danley says that's a swing. Robinson made his first opening day roster, was a non-roster invitee to spring training. Guy's had a lot of success in the minor leagues. He takes outside.
I'm interested to see if we'll see that changeup from Cishek that he featured in Philadelphia. I know this is a little tighter spot.
Well, it was certainly a low pressure situation, and Cishek did dust off that changeup to the lefties, and he looked good throwing it. Robinson, 2 hops, Gordon, ball game, and Miami takes the first of this weekend series impressively tonight. Steve Cishek gets his first save. D. Gordon and Adeiny Echeverria fuel the offense. Matt Latos gives Miami a quality start. The bullpen looks good. And for the Marlins, all of a sudden, this is a team that has won 3 in a row.
Good stuff. Good team effort. Good solid defense. Some timely hitting tonight.
And from a pitching standpoint, I think Latos did a great job. He got better as the game went on. You brought up running the bases. You thought maybe that would affect him. He threw 4 straight balls, but then came back really strong after that and gave them a great effort.
It's got to feel good for Mike Redmond, too. 3-4 days ago, reports that his seat was getting a bit hot. And the Marlins have run off a 3-game win streak. They take down the Washington Nationals. And they do it tonight, as you guys pointed out, without the middle of their order. Giancarlo Stanton and Michael Morse were not factors in this one. In fact, combined, they were 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. 3 more hits for D. Gordon. 2 more hits for Adeiny Echeverria. And a big hit in the 8th for Martin Prado. And he's down below with Craig Minervini.
Well, the Marlins, Rich, kept a little roll going from Philadelphia here, Martin, in an exciting ball game. You got a big hit, big defensive play, and an important win for your team tonight.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one, man. We've been playing pretty good baseball, and it's good. It's good bringing that confidence back for all of us. And what a ball game today! Like both teams, we played a pretty good game. Pitchers, they did a real good job. Let us keep us in the game. Zimmerman was pretty good, but on the end we got a big run for us and a big win.
Let's talk defense first. In the 7th inning, Escobar really ripped one right by you, and then you got out of the inning, and then you pay him back there in the 9th inning.
That's the beauty about baseball, man. Sometimes you got those tough ground balls, and I react too late. And but the game kept going, and that's the beauty about the game. You might have another play later in the game. So fortunately for me, I got a good one, and big out for Sisha last inning.
Huge way to set the tone there for the ninth inning, no question. You got up, you corralled it, you got him out. But let's talk about your at-bat. After Gordon steals, you're assuming he's going to steal. First base is open, but you know Stanton is on deck, so you're going to get a pitch to hit. Tell me about your approach there.
The guys that I faced, Barrett, he got a real nice, real good stuff, but I was just looking for a good pitch to hit the other way, trying to put in play, because it's hard when pitchers can control secondary pitches. It's hard to put the ball in play, but I feel like he made a mistake there, and I took advantage of it.
Preston Wilson mentioned that you saw his very good secondary pitch early in the count. Did that help you set up for the fastball at all?
He threw a pretty good slider the first pitch, and I was like, he's gonna come back with it. And fortunately for me, I could hold the swing, and he threw me a two-seamer in, and I was just trying to get inside the ball, so and put the ball in play. So, a big win for us.
Yeah, that feels good, certainly for your ball club to get a win here and to get on a little roll, which is so important. I know you gained a little confidence in Philadelphia. Sometimes it doesn't carry over, but it looked like it did tonight. And again, your pitching and defense led the way.
It's a good environment right now in the clubhouse. Everybody's so positive, and everybody working so hard because it's a long season, and everybody just doing their part. So whenever we start playing as a team, whenever we're doing like little things, we're gonna be fine.
Enjoy wearing that Miami in your jersey these days?
Oh, for sure. I'm real proud to be a Miami Marlins.
Good to have you here, Martin. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, that's Martin Prado. Big game for him. Big hit again. Another clutch hit for Prado in that number 2 spot in the lineup as the Marlins win here this ball game. The first of the 9-game homestand, only their second home win when they went 1-5 that first homestand. Let's go back upstairs to Rich.
And importantly, Craig, first win against a team that dominated them last year. The Nationals took 13 of the 19 games last year. This is the first meeting this year, and the Marlins take it 3-2. Marlins Live is coming up.